Welcome to Full Scope, a podcast with two guys in their 20s giving their perspective on the games that we love and the story behind it all. I'm your host, Wellington Burns, along with my counterpart, Savon Morris. How's it
It's going good. It's
going?
going. It's going great, man.
That's good. Well, we got a lot of topics to get into today, as usual. And to start it off, Anthony Davis has phenomenal, had a phenomenal month in February, averaging 35 points and 13 rebounds. And they're currently on a seven game win streak, three overtime wins, and he's been, the center point, the focal point of it all, and keeping them in playoff contention. With how he's been playing and how he's, kept the Pelicans afloat in a tough Western Conference. What are your thoughts on it?
I mean, this is nothing new. I'm not surprised that Anthony Davis is becoming or is already a star in the NBA. He's been doing it since his days at Kentucky. So when you look at a guy like Anthony Davis, I think he's improved every single year, which you're supposed to do. And I think he's improved most when Boogie Cousins has came to the Pelicans. A lot of people won't say that, but his average and numbers has went up since Boogie's been there. His rebounds per game has improved. He's improved when DeMarcus Cousins had came to the Pelicans. He's averaged before that he was averaging 21, 20 points. Now the past few seasons he's averaged 28 points a game. So now he's playing. We're seeing him grow into the role even more in the absence of Boogie Cousins. So I'm not surprised he's playing well. He's in the contender for MVP, which he's just, I think, in my opinion, he's one of the best centers in the league right now with Cousins
Yeah.
being out for the season.
So you
So
think when Boogie's out there, there's a difference. Anthony Davis can't be as good because I mean I think like when they're together, they're like the best tandem of big men in the league. But do you think there's like Davis has more of a freedom to display his full array of talent?
no, I think he does that with and without. But I think once DeMarcus Cousins was on, came a part of the Pelicans, his game increased because now it was just him. Now he can feed off the energy of another center, another guy who can score buckets just as well as him. Both of them can play defense. We've seen that. Anthony Davis is a big time stealer, blocker, rebounder. He's all around great basketball center. So I'm not surprised that now he's been a contender for the MVP. I think he's good with or without DeMarcus Cousins, but it's
Yeah,
something that like fueled him and gave him an extra umph when DeMarcus Cousins is on the court and once he came to the Pelicans.
yeah, and that's something that I definitely have observed and have seen to be the case with him in terms of the Pelicans. They're like I think fifth in the West right now. Um, what do you see for them going forward in the playoff race? Like how far do you think they can get up in the hierarchy of the West?
They don't go far.
Yeah,
I say that with respect for the Pelicans, but they don't have enough. Even
yeah. It's a bunch of
with
role players around Anthony Davis. It's almost like the same thing with because he was talking about this season. He feels like I mean, well, without Cousins, he could be like what Westbrook. He could do what Westbrook did last year when
yeah,
Westbrook lost Durant and just went on a tear. But he had role players around him, and they didn't make a deep playoff run. I feel like that may be the same case with the Pelicans.
I think that's a perfect example too. I mean, Westbrook, Anthony Davis are both great basketball players, but when you don't have enough as a team, you're not going to go far in the playoffs, let alone the regular season.
Yeah,
So I don't think they go far. If they do make go to the first round of playoffs, I think they lose. Um, but they just don't have enough as a team. But Anthony Davis is playing on his best basketball.
yeah, definitely. Another team that has suffered one of their big players, one of their best player leaving with an injury is Minnesota and Jimmy Butler. He had a torn meniscus, is going to be out for 4 to 6 weeks, and
Mm-hmm.
he probably will be back right before the playoffs. But Minnesota, they're going to be playing the fewest amount of games for any team after the All Star break, and they've got some tough games coming up with Boston, Golden State, Washington,
Mm-hmm.
the Spurs, Rockets, Clippers at home. Their 8 game stretch in March is going to be brutal, and it's probably going to be a telltale sign for um, how things go out in their playoff run. Butler to me is their best player as of now. Uh, um, an incredible wing defender who guarded the opponent's best players. Now that's going to go to somebody else.
Right.
How far do you? I mean, how much do you think this is going to have an impact on Minnesota?
It's definitely going to have an impact because they're still a young team. You still have Andrew Wiggins, Carter Anthony Towns. You have, Jamal Crawford, but Jimmy Butler, they went to go get Jimmy Butler for a reason. They
Yeah,
acquired Jimmy Butler's services for a reason. He's leading points per game. He's leading in steals, leading minutes per game at a whopping 37. So now you're missing that one piece that kind of ignites you and fulfills you, if you will, as a team and as a unit. That guy is going to be missed. 46 weeks, that's a long time. He might come back in the playoff stretch. But right now, I still like them as a team, but he's going to
mhm.
be missed there. That's a significant part of that basketball team and Jimmy Butler.
Yeah, it definitely is because now it's just the young Timberwolves again. It's
Yes.
it's the Timberwolves that are having they don't have that veteran leader. I mean, they got Taj Gibson, they've got Jamal Crawford, but I mean like a leader who is like the best
Yeah.
player on the floor, and
They're
that's
like a
what
Lakers team right now. They're like the young Lakers right
right.
now.
Yeah, and that's gonna be extremely tough in a tough Western Conference. I, I never want to say that a coach is wronged for an injury or having something to do with it, but Jimmy Butler has played a lot of minutes,
He
and the
has.
Timberwolves play a lot of minutes, and
Yes.
I'm really starting to feel as though what Tom Thibodeau is doing, um, and not even starting to feel like it's always been an observation of mine that he
Mm-hmm.
runs players into the ground, um, has a runs a tight ship, and I'm not saying I'm putting the injury on him, but I feel like the amount of minutes he's played has accumulated, and maybe one of the reasons why he had the injury. And sometimes I just wonder if maybe resting players more would be more of help. Now you really can't afford to do it because you don't have your best player on. But what are your thoughts in terms of how much he plays his guys and sometimes the accumulation that it wears on the players?
I mean, this is nothing new for Jimmy Butler. Just to specifically talked about him when Jimmy was with the Chicago Bulls, he averaged like 35, 36 minutes a game.
Yeah,
I mean, that's what comes with the territory. LeBron James averages about 33, 34, depending on how he's feeling. Kobe did the same thing. Big time players have to step up. We're giving you this contract, so we expect everyone, every ounce of you. It comes with the game. It comes with basketball. You're our best player. We need you. We need you to step up. And I mean, yes, it has its pros and cons. Yes, Tom Thibodeau has a history of really getting every bit of energy out of his basketball players, his players. So I don't see nothing wrong with it, to be honest, because this is a part of the game. It's a part of the situation that comes with being an NBA, a national basketball professional basketball player.
right.
If my coach needs me to play 38 minutes a game, I'm going to play 38 minutes a game. Am I going to be sore and tired? I think they take the right precautions about doing yoga, doing going to rehab daily, having different regimens of what they want to do to rejuvenate their players. But no, I don't think it's a bad thing that Tom Thibodeau or whoever,
Yeah.
whatever coach wants to play their players 37, 38 minutes a game.
Remember a couple of years ago when the Cavs went on that championship run
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
and they rested a lot more down the stretch. And I'm not saying this is a reason for them winning it all. But if LeBron doesn't have that same amount of rest, does he still have the same amount of energy to make that block in Game 7?
I think so.
And you think so?
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were posing a question to me. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah, yeah. I kind of was. I mean, yeah. It was just kind of a question, just hypothetical. Do you think that's really not a big deal, or yeah, that could have been a big deal for him having that extra step?
I don't think it was more so his competitiveness and his
Right.
sheer ability or fight to win. I think anybody you find whatever energy you have in your body to make that a secure block, a secure throw, or make this make the block or hit the 3 point like Kyrie did. You find some way to win or find some way to be an impact to your team. maybe, yes, maybe him sitting and having that extra rest kind of helped him a little bit. But I think it was more so of his who he is as a player, and as a person, his sheer ability to win or want to win. So
Yeah,
it kind of you can go both ways with it, but for me, I think it's more of a ability to I'm going to do any and everything to help my team win. I think that's the mindset LeBron has. I think that's the mindset of Jimmy Butler, the mindset of any basketball player or player regardless of the sport.
yeah, and that's definitely a fair point. It's going to be interesting to see how the Timberwolves can make it through this tough March stretch, but it definitely
Yeah,
will be a telltale sign of how they do in their seeding the playoffs.
yeah, they're
Um,
definitely
uh,
going to miss him.
yeah, another team that it's been injury galore in the NBA, but another
Yeah,
team that's dealt with another injury is Washington, and John Wall will probably be back in maybe 4 to 5, maybe several weeks, I would think.
mm-hmm.
And they've kind of reinvented themselves, the Wizards. More ball movement, and in terms of right now, they led the league in assists for about a stretch during their winning streak, and I mean, everything was about 30 assists. And some people have said, "Oh, well, this shows that they're better without John Wall." I don't think that to be the case. I think he's one of the most dynamic point guards in the league, and when you have him, you're going to be better. But now they've
I agree.
embraced, more ball movement. What does this show something that they're having more success without him? They're 10-5 without him, or do you think it's just they're having to adapt how they're playing?
I think, like I always say, it's a bit of both. Once you're without your starting player, you have to find identity and adapt to situations. Who's going to be the guy? And I think they rely more on Bradley Beal to be that guy when John Wall is out. He's now, I mean, before John Wall was injured, he was averaging, I think, 29 or 31 points, not 31 points, minutes. Now he's up
Yeah,
to 37 a game. He's up to 23 points a game. I think he leads the team in assists with 5 or 6. So I mean, it's you have to find a way to win, and I think Bradley Bill has stepped up to be that guy. Can he be that guy? Yeah, he has the ability and the potential to, but they miss John Wall. Let's keep this out the way, like you said.
yeah,
John Wall is top 5 point
yeah,
guards right now, and I'll put my whole entire savings on the guy. He's top 5 right now. But they miss John Wall. John Wall is a dynamic scorer. He can finish at the rim. He can facilitate when he wants to, and he's a clutch player. Something you want in a point guard. It's something you want in one of your star players. They miss him. They really do miss him. They've
yeah.
been sending postcards. They've been sending love letters to John Wall. I mean, they really do miss the guy. But
Yeah,
they can figure out to win. And they went 10-5 without him. Now he's come back. So what's the identity now that when he comes back? I know he's gonna be a little timid, trying to get the injury back. I think that's the question she would pose. Can they win with a non 100% John Wall? Can they make a playoff
mm,
run with a non
no,
100% John Wall?
no.
And you say no. Okay. I mean, no.
No, for me, I just don't because we just see how the explosion he has to the rim when he's 100%. I don't have that same confidence when he's not 100%.
Wow.
And and that's something I'm kind of concerned about because him as a shooter, he's been not as strong in certain aspects from the perimeter in the playoffs. And I just kind of wonder if him not being 100% can actually relate to them making a deep playoff run. I'm not really that confident in that.
That is
And I really
insane.
and I really like what their bench has done. Kelly Oubre, he stepped up, and that can be another thing. If their bench can do better, then maybe they don't need him to be 100%. Maybe they have really adapted to this more ball movement method, and now they can just be like, okay, our bench can give production. Bradley Bill has stepped up. Otto Porter Jr. has stepped up, and now we can actually make a deep playoff run. But for me, without him being 100%, I'm not as convinced.
Right. And yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I did forget about Otto Porter. Like,
Yeah,
how do you forget about him, man, with the glasses? But yeah, I agree. I agree to that. I agree to a certain extent. Um, but yeah, man, it's hard to count out the Wizards, though, man. It's hard to count them out, to
it,
be honest.
so for the so for their playoff run, you see them making
Oh
you
no,
see
no, no,
them.
no, no,
Okay,
no, no. I mean, before you even post that question, no, 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 no.
yeah, yeah, right,
They're not going far. They're not going far.
yeah,
No, no. We agree on that. Yeah, yeah, they're gonna be at home. They're gonna be in the District of Columbia watching. But
exactly. um, Another player who has been considered in some aspects underrated and slighted for two missed All Star appearances is Damian Lillard, and
mm,
he's been on a tear in February, playing very well. Had I think averaged 31 points in a stretch of 10 games. He's completely grown as a leader, as a as a facilitator, all those things. But now it's almost about the team success and
yeah,
what they can do in the playoffs. Because he had that meeting with the owner Paul Allen and was like, "What are we doing to put the requisite pieces around this team so we can actually make a deep playoff run?" Because that's really what's left. I mean, they have one of the best backcourts in the league with him and McCollum, CJ McCollum, and now it's like, what can they do in the playoffs? So I pose this question: Do you think the notion of him being? Do you think he still is underrated?
most definitely, man. Most definitely. I, I I think it's because they don't have this swag, if you will, towards the team. It's just him and McCollum. It's nobody else. Since he's been coming in the league, the man has been he was a rookie of the year in 2012-13. He's two-time NBA All-Star. He should have been more than that. I think it was all rookie MVP of the game. I can't remember to be exact, but the guy has been under the radar since he's been in the league. Winning the rookie of the year is no small feat.
Yeah,
So the fact that people have counted Damian Lillard out, I don't understand why. The guy can finish at the rim. He can shoot the three when he needs to. He can finish. He can create shots for himself. He can facilitate as well. So why is Damian Lillard flying under the radar? So it's like, yeah, I can be a fat Albert. I can be a plane. Like, let me
hmm
fly. Let me caw. Like, I'm here. Like, what's going on here? And he's in my top five of point guards. I think he's better than Steph Curry. I think he's better than John Wall. He's a
really.
better finisher. I think he's a better finisher, John Wall. I tell you,
You think
Steph
he's
Curry.
better than Steph?
Yes,
I don't agree with that.
I think he finishes at the rim better than Steph. He might not have the shot that Steph has, but I think he has the ability to beat anybody one on one. He can beat any team. The guy can. Steph to me can't finish at the rim. He relies on his shooting ability, sporadic. He's the only player. I told you this
He's
last week. He's the
sporadic.
only player.
He's one
Yeah,
of the best shooters of all time, maybe the best shooter of all time.
all
He's yeah
time. I
yeah.
do. Reggie Miller is the best shooter of all time. Do not sit here and tell me Reggie Miller is not a better shooter than Steph Curry.
I didn't say that. I'm just saying he's one of the
Okay,
best shooters of all time.
he's not. He's probably top 10. He's sporadic. That's the only reason why I want to give it to him.
I
He's a
just I don't
sporadic
I'm
shooter.
yeah, I got this from the last podcast that this notion that you're not really, I don't know, 100% sold on him as overall player. He's a top five player. He's one of the best shooters ever. He had a 50
Bro,
40 90 season.
wow.
Like
Yeah. How many
unanimous.
times did he shoot that though? We're getting out there. How many times did he shoot a game? You got to take it to the numbers. He's sporadic. He takes terrible shots. He
Yeah,
does.
because those are I understand what you're
Hey,
saying, but
yeah.
like in game 7, he wasn't 100 like 2 years ago. I'm alluding back to the 2016 finals with them in Cleveland when Cleveland won. But he took a lot of shots that weren't going down. But like Jeff Van Gundy said, you can't tell me that those aren't good shots. Those are shots he made all year. They just weren't going down. And to
Those
me,
are terrible shots. Terrible
yeah,
shots.
terrible shots for another point guard, but not terrible shots for him. He's made a
See
living
that.
making those shots.
See that's the thing. We
It's the
give him
YMCA. We go to the YMCA and we see kids taking those shots and they can't make them because they're not as good as he is.
no. We're not gonna talking about regular kids who are still honing their
I no
craft.
no 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 no. No, I'm just
I'm
saying
talking
it's
about
like
guys. Reggie Miller took perfect shots. He took consistently shots that wasn't like, oh, but he made them. Kevin Durant, too. I think Kevin Durant is a better shooter than Steph Curry. I've argued this all last summer when I was with the Receiver Bowl. I think Kevin Durant, he shoots better. He's more persistent. I mean, not persistent, consistent in his shooting and his shooting habits. I don't like players who sporadically shoots and shoots to get themselves out of their slump. I don't like players like
I'll
that.
say
I
this.
won't take a player like
I'll
that.
pose this question to you. Who do you fear
Okay.
more getting in a hot streak? When they get in a hot streak from the perimeter, who do you fear more? Do you fear a Steph, a Damian Lillard, a Kyrie? When this person gets in a
I
hot streak?
fear are you talking about jump shots or
I mean,
finishing at the rim or
perimeter,
just
perimeter.
perimeter? Of course, that's Steph Curry's
Yeah.
game. Steph Curry's game. That's
Okay.
his
Okay.
MO.
Exactly.
No, I'm talking about all around player. If I could choose a draft, I would take Damian Lillard over Steph Curry any day of the week. You
I
know
just thought about
why? Damian Lillard plays
the
better
two-time MVP.
defense. Damian, oh my gosh, it's a popularity contest, man. Who's ever popular, that's who they're gonna choose. It's chosen by the people, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean,
Excuse me.
yeah. I definitely,
Excuse me.
I
I
definitely
mean,
understand that. I didn't mean to get off on this rabbit trail, but we just
no. It's fine. I mean, it's a part of the perspective and the underlying things in the NBA.
right.
Steph Curry gets a excuse or whatever because that's his mo. He's a shooter. He's a shooter. Okay,
Yeah.
but I digress.
Yeah, definitely. But Lillard, in terms of we've said this about three teams. We said this about Minnesota. We said this about New Orleans. But in terms of their playoff, Portland's playoff run, like how far do I don't really see them making a deep run again. Do you think
No,
this offseason there's going to be some changes, some drastic changes to go after a center maybe, or just reshape this roster?
they have to. It's
Yeah,
imperative they have to, man. Because Damian Lillard and McCollum, they can't do it by themselves. They need some help. I was looking trying to get DeMarcus Cousins or Anthony Davis, or go get somebody in the draft. Or you have to do something. I think
yeah,
that was the high point of him, Damian Lillard, and the owner coming together and trying to figure out like what can we do. Like, man, I put my heart and soul in this team. Like, I feel like LeBron. I, if you don't give me the right people and the right things to gel together, I'm going to leave. And I don't think Damian Lillard is afraid of leaving out because people before him has left the teams that they thought they were sold to, but they need something else, man. I think they need a big man, like you said. They need a big man. Paul Gasol might be available. Aldridge wants to get traded. It's a couple. Oh, you go get Kawhi Leonard, who's up after this season. You have to get another playmaker and a defensive player that can kind of gel that team together.
yeah, for sure. I definitely agree with that. Nurkic, he he's a productive big man, but he's not the big man that's going to make significant
Mm-hmm.
changes.
No.
I did hear reports of them going after DeAndre Jordan during the trade deadline, but that didn't come
Yeah.
through, and that probably could have been a major help. But it's going to be interesting to see how they navigate in this postseason. It'll be interesting to see how it affects their offseason. Um, another you know interesting thing that's going on in the NBA. It's been going on for last several years now. Is tanking. It's when teams
Mm-hmm.
they decide like we're just going to lose on purpose, so we can get a high draft pick. Mark Cuban was fined 600,000 for discussing that. He said on a podcast, um, he said losing told his players losing is our best option. He said we can get a better draft pick if you have a very bad record. And it's not like you can show evidence these teams are just on purpose losing. I
Right.
mean, we had the thing with Philadelphia, and that's how the process started. They lost on purpose, got high draft picks, and now they're Philadelphia. Now they're fifth seed in the East. And do you think it's something that's a negative for the league, or is it one of those things where like the Colangelos in Philadelphia, they turned it the joke of the process became a very productive team.
I think it's positive for the teams in the league, but the imagery of the league, I think, is negative. Because I don't think this is the first time this has happened. You look at the different elements that has been created for the past 7 to 8 years with forming the big three players leaving to go to different teams to fight for it and be able to contend for not national NBA championships. So you look at then it's just more fuel to the fire of what the basketball league is turning to. Now we're looking at we need to reshape the All-Star game, or do we need to redo the playoff berths and different things? I think whatever they're trying to reinvent the NBA, I don't know. This is just adding a pros and cons, negative, and a positive connotation towards it. Teams have been doing this since forever. I mean,
Houston Rockets did
I
it.
have,
Houston Rockets
yeah,
did it in '83.
it
They
did.
lost on purpose, and they got Akeem Olajuwon, and they went to the playoffs for the next 14 out of 15 seasons.
Yep. I think it's bad. I don't agree with it, man. I don't agree
Yeah,
with it. But it's a part of the league. It's something that you can't prove. Uh, it's kind of up in the air, man, because it gives
but
teams a better chance.
the result can be, hey,
Yeah,
you get a once in a lifetime player.
yeah. 76ers, like you said, did it. They Ben Simmons, Embiid, I have a couple more players. I mean, it's no way I can go to the playoffs, so why not, right?
Yeah,
I think that's the mindset. Like, we can't go to the playoffs. We tried our best for the
it's not
first
the
40
players and the
games.
coaches.
Yeah,
One of
it's
the coaches don't
the
want to do this. It's ownership. Like it's
yeah,
management saying this is what we want to happen. But the players are competitive. We know this. They want to
right.
win. Yeah, it doesn't matter what game it is. They want to win. But now they're being put in a position where the management, like, do you think management? I guess it's kind of obvious that management is to blame for this. If you have an
Yeah,
issue with it, do you think that's something that maybe the commissioners are going to look at and be like, "Hey, this is not acceptable. If we purposely see you're trying to do this."
most definitely. I think they find Mark Cuban because he talked about it, discussed it about it on a podcast. So
Yeah,
they're really having the PR teams and different people that's in the organization look out for certain things. So I think they are trying to crack down on it, but it's kind of hard to prove that, to say that teams are losing on purpose. We don't know why they're losing. Maybe they got somebody injured. Maybe they're not playing against good teams or whatever the case may be. You really can't prove it. But I think they are going to kind of crack down on it. I think management or the GM front office is to blame, of course, because it's a business. First off, we
yeah,
need to find how to put people in the seats. We need better players. We need to contend for the NBA championship. We need to have residual revenue for our organization to keep it afloat. So it's a business. First off, I'm not surprised by what they're doing. I mean, it's a business. It's
yeah,
a lucrative business that has been around for ages, and
yeah,
it's going to continue to be around because you can't prove it.
yeah. Exactly. I would definitely agree with that. And it's something that's gone on, and it's hard to find the concrete evidence for it. Um, Transitioning to college basketball, the reports with Sean Miller and um, discussing a $100,000 payment to make sure freshman DeAndre Ayton came to Arizona, was caught by a FBI wiretap, and now on Thursday he's denied it. Said it's not
Mm-hmm.
true.
Yeah.
He's saying that this is what the college is in the spotlight for. How much do you believe this? How much validity do you find in this?
I, I want to give him half and half because he's not proven guilty yet. And
Sure.
then we don't know the how accurate these tapes are. We're just, the FBI said we have them on tape. So we're gonna do this. We're gonna believe the FBI. The FBI has been wrong a couple, not even a couple, many times before.
Mm,
So we don't know. He's not proven guilty. If he says he didn't do it, we have to halfway believe him because one, the evidence, we don't know the evidence is accurate or true. I know a couple of Arizona players and ex reporters have been coming out and backing Sean Miller. It's like these claims, like, no, he never did that. That's preposterous. Like, no, this is it's not true at all. So we have to believe him. We have to believe him halfway until he's proven guilty. If the guy said he didn't do it, we have to believe him halfway. You know, because the FBI came out with, we got him on tape. Well, okay, can we hear the tape? Are there going to be more investigations, or is he going to be acquitted, or what's going to happen? We can't just believe. And he was extremely upset, which I would be because my name is being defamed. My
Mm,
family's involved with it. The Arizona basketball in university, the kid in Aiton is his family is being like it's so much, and people believe these stories.
right,
So now he said, "Okay, I'm tired of being quiet. I think it's right for me to come and say, look, I didn't do any of this. None of my players did. We've been on a straight and narrow for these amount of years since I've been here. Prove me wrong." And I think that's what he said. Prove me wrong. Take me to court. Let's see. Prove me wrong. What's the tape? Can we hear the tape? Nobody has asked for the tape. We just know there's a tape. But where's the tape? Prove him wrong.
right.
So he's right halfway to me because he hasn't been proven guilty.
Yeah, exactly. And in dealing with this problem of whether athletes should be paid or not, the NCAA president Mark Emmert said paying student athletes is not an option. It's not something we're going to start with. Do you think that a lot of NBA players are saying it's ridiculous, but these players should be compensated, but it should be the players who are having a greater impact on the tournament and the university compared to those who really aren't. Do you think it's just one of those things that are set in stone that the NCAA is just saying like, this is never going to happen?
It's never going to happen
Yeah,
because it takes out of the pocket of the university. It takes out of the pocket of different officials. It's so much politics that involved in it. They don't want to change that. The I guess the bylaws have been set. The policies have been set for a long, long time before we've even played any sports in the collegiate area. There is set in stone. It's not going away. Players will never be paid in college basketball ever because they feel like they're compensated enough with having a 4 year degree, getting a degree, having different apparels, traveling, going to different places, paying for leisure things, miscellaneous things. They feel like they're compensated enough. So
yeah,
they're not going to change it if they feel like they're compensated enough with uh, different things, different amenities. I mean, place to stay, transportation, different things like that. So they're not going to change. Not in this
yeah,
league. I mean, yeah,
yeah. I definitely don't see it happening. I'm the my stance. I think they should be, but
yeah. I'm
just based
halfway on that. Yeah.
on how much they bring in for the university, like the publicity they bring in, the tournament, all those things, they don't get half a share. I don't see that as particularly fair. But that's just my opinion on that. Our last topic for today is UNC and Duke, and I mean pretty much just which team has more of a clear identity. Duke is 24-6. UNC is 22-8, and they've really been inconsistent in terms of just not us not knowing like which real team um, what is their true identity. And Duke they kind of found themselves without Bagley, their best player. UNC went on a 6 game winning streak, but then lost to Miami on a buzzer beater
Mm,
and gave up 55% shooting from them, and that was a bad loss. But in terms of their matchup tonight, it's always a big matchup. Duke looking for a chance to get back from the loss UNC gave to them earlier in February. But what are you seeing in terms of these two teams' identities, and which one are you more convinced? Like, okay, I kind of trust this team's identity more headed into the tournament.
I think it's up in the air. Well, I won't say that. I'll give the edge more to Duke
Yeah,
because they found an identity without Bagley. Yeah, man, it's so like I'm trying
tough.
to think. Yeah, I'm stuck because I'm not going to say anything until after this game. That will
Okay.
solidify my
So this
decision.
game is going to be like as a decider for you. Like, okay,
Yes, because both of the guys are not. Well, Duke is right behind Virginia. Virginia's it's on vacation.
yeah,
They're out in the Bahamas
they're
just
settled.
relaxing.
They're like, we got the 1 seed locked up. It's good.
Yeah, I will give the edge to whoever wins. Whoever wins. I think that's my dry answer because I'm so in between. I'm really not a believer in Grayson Allen. I don't know what North Carolina it's so up in the air, man. So whoever wins this game, that's who I'll give the edge to into the tourney and going through the rest of the season. It's kind of hard for me to just decide right here and there.
Yeah, but Duke has found their defensive identity with the zone. Like
Yeah,
that's been a very strong point for them. And to me, it's like they're kind of like, we found this chemistry without Bagley, but can we find it back with him? And that's going to be the biggest thing because Bagley's I think, right there behind Trey Young, you know, top two, players in the country. Like Bagley's one of them. And
Mhm.
when they can find their offensive identity, that's going to be when things start to click. Because for me, I still feel as though it comes down to Grayson Allen. I don't know why, but there's just something I feel as though if he has a strong game, if he doesn't have a strong game, it's gonna be the decider for Duke. It's gonna be them getting past Sweet 16, getting to a Final Four, not getting to a Final Four. It's gonna be all of those things combined in one because he's their veteran, and this is a young inexperienced team that hasn't been in those situations. He's won a championship, but it's going to be now can they implement that all together and with their offense.
Wow, that's pretty good perspective and
And
analysis.
and,
But
and UNC, this is a veteran team. Like
yeah,
Theo Pinson, Joel Berry, Luke May, like all those guys, they've been there. And if you're looking for experience, UNC has it. But talent wise, I would still give the edge to Duke.
well, I mean, we shall see.
Yeah,
We shall see. Yeah, I
yeah,
mean,
yeah,
I
it
can't.
definitely should be a interesting matchup. In terms of this matchup, like, is there a team you like?
Well, hmm, you know what, man, it is so hard because they're like neck and neck. Like
Right.
they are both. I think North Carolina's average 84 points a game. Duke averages 86. Field goal percentage. Duke is 50. North Carolina is 47. Like they're neck and neck on the percentage. I mean, statistic wise, like you said, if you want to go with the, and then this is a rivalry. This is one of the biggest rivalries in college
Ever.
basketball. Yeah, so it's kind of hard, like to give the edge to anybody because anything can happen. But if I could pick one player, I mean not player, but a team, I will go with the North Carolina. I'll probably have to go with North Carolina just because of their I don't know what's the word I'm looking for. You said it
Savvy,
earlier. I'm not even savvy. They're
experience.
experience. Thank you. I don't know how to brain fart there, man. Just to go there, experience and having players that have been here before and have seen the spotlight before. I'll probably have to go with North Carolina. I'm not. I told you we've had this conversation multiple times before. I'm not big on Grayson Allen at all, but I give it to North Carolina just because of the experience and the ability to win with Roy. Roy is a tenacious coach. I like Roy Williams.
Yeah, and dealing with the coaching, do you think that coaching also is? I mean, do you think that coaching is also an edge in the game too? Because like when it comes to these two teams, it's not just a lot of times you think of the two coaches. You think of Roy
Right.
Williams, you think of Coach K. Do you think that also can be an edge in the game?
You especially think of it now because they don't have any big time like in my opinion they don't have any big time players like they used like the previous teams and games. But yeah, I definitely think the coaches play a role. Two legendary coaches. They have a knack for winning, knack for finding different players and not draining, but getting every ounce of ability and potential out of them. I think for Coach Watt, I like Roy Williams because I don't know, he's just one of those coaches I would
Compared
love
to
to play
compared to Coach
for.
K?
Yeah, I would love to play with Coach Roy Williams because Coach K is so like like he's so like direct. He likes Popovich. I would love to play for Popovich. Nothing against old
Really?
Pop.
Coach
What's
K
the
is a
name?
legend. I mean, if I had to play for man, Coach K, he's that guy.
I mean, Coach
Just
K is
everything.
Coach K.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all the knowledge.
What what's the name that I called Popovich last week?
The
I can't
White
remember it.
Snowman.
The White Snowman. Yeah. I would love to play with the White Snowman, but But I don't know. Roy Williams seemed like that coach. Like he has edge, but he also has that the demeanor of like, okay, we can have fun while we do this. You know that, right? We can
Right.
have fun, but we're going to be competitive at a level. I think Coach K is just like straightforward, cut dry pace, blah. You know, he's like
Yeah.
unseasoned chicken to be.
So okay, your nickname for Coach Pop is the White Snowman. Your nickname for Coach K is Unseasoned Chicken. Okay.
The unseasoned chicken. That's so bad. That's not gonna stick. But the white snowman, I think Coach Bobby. But that's funny. But yeah, I give the edge to North Carolina, Coach Roy Williams.
Wow.
Oh man, go Tar Heels.
These nicknames, I think that just ended it for me. But yeah, it definitely it definitely should be a very good game. Two great coaches, two great issues. So yeah, it definitely should be a good one. It was good talking to you again, man.
Yeah, man. Always.
Yes. This is Full Scope. I'm your host, Winter Burns, along with my counterpart, Savon Morris. See you later.